Okay, for this question, we have select all that apply, so we have to check all of the choices. If we're looking at this angle here, this is definitely the hypotenuse. This would be opposite, and this would be adjacent. So the first one says the sine of 65 is t over 8. Sine is supposed to be opposite over hypotenuse. So t is opposite, hypotenuse is 8. That is correct. This one says sine of 65 is 8 over t, so they switched them, so that's wrong. This says cosine. Cosine is supposed to be adjacent over hypotenuse. They put the hypotenuse in the top, so that is wrong. For the next one, cosine, adjacent, which is u, that's correct, and hypotenuse, which is 8, that one is correct. Tangent is supposed to be opposite over adjacent. Opposite is t, adjacent is u, so E is correct. And F would be incorrect because they used the hypotenuse in the top. Number 15, what are the exact lengths of the leg X and hypotenuse Y in the triangle below? Express your answer as a simplified radical. So when we're doing these as a simplified radical, we would want to look at our special right triangle rules. So in our special right triangle rules, this says that across from the 30 is our X, across from the 60 is X times the square root of 3, and the hypotenuse is 2X. So if I use that to help me, this is our longer leg, which is across from the 60. So that's going to be my X radical 3. So if I said 10 equals X radical 3, and I try to solve this, I'd have to divide by the square root of 3. So I have 10 divided by the square root of 3 is X. But I'm not allowed to leave a radical in the bottom, so I have to rationalize. So I multiply the top and the bottom by the square root of 3. That's going to give me 10 radical 3 over 3. That's my X value. Whatever my X value is, I have to double it to get this hypotenuse side. So if I double this value, I'll get my Y. So if I multiply by 2, I'm multiplying the top by 2 because it's like 2 over 1. And my Y is 20 times the square root of 3 over 3. Number 16, what are the measures of angle J and angle K in triangle JKL below? Round your answers to the nearest tenth of a degree. So I have all three sides. That means I can use trig to help me figure out the missing angles. If I pick angle J first, since I know all three sides, I can pick whatever ratio I want. So if I pick J, 8 would be opposite and 15 would be adjacent. So I get to pick whatever I want. So if I say the tangent of J, I would use opposite, which is 8, over adjacent, which is 15. When I don't know the angle, that's when I use the inverse button on my calculator. And then that'll give me my angle. So depending on what kind of calculator you have, you could maybe type it in exactly like that. You just have to make sure you use the inverse button, the one with the little -1. When you do that, you get 28.1 is J. So 28.1 degrees. We know that all the angles in a triangle have to add up to 180. So if I take 180 and I subtract 90 and I subtract 28.1, 28.1, then I'll be left with my K angle. So I can go ahead and subtract, and I get that it's 61.9 for K. Number 17 says, what are the exact lengths of M and N in the triangle below? Express each answer as a simplified radical. So we notice these angles are the same. That means we can follow our isosceles triangles rule here, or you can do Pythagorean theorem. Since these angles are the same, we would know that these sides are the same. So M is just 7 radical 3 because it's got to be the same as that one. This is where now we could either use the rule. The rule says the hypotenuse is whatever the leg is, and then you multiply by the square root of 2. So we would say N is, we write the leg, and we say times the square root of 2. So that would be 7 times the square root of 6. That's one way to do it. Another way to do it is to do Pythagorean theorem with this information. It takes a little bit longer, but you'll get the same answer. So if I square this, it would be 49 times 3. And then I'd have to take the square root, and I'll get the same thing. But like I said, either way, you get the same answer. So it just depends if you want to use your rules or do Pythagorean theorem. Next one says, if the diameter of a circle is multiplied by 4, then how many times the area of the original circle is the new circle? So if a diameter is multiplied by 4, that's telling me the original to the new one is 1 to 4. That would be our scale factor. So how many times the area of the original is to the new? To figure that out, we take this value and we square them. So it's going to be 1 to 16. So it would be 16 times larger. If the length, width, and height of a rectangular prism are doubled, so this is telling you that the original is 1 and the new one is 2. That's my scale factor. How many times the volume? So volume, I take whatever I have here and I raise it to the 3rd power. So 1 to the 3rd and 2 to the 3rd gives me 1 to 8. So it's 8 times larger. Okay, the difference between these two, this was area, so we square the scale factor. This was volume, so we cube the scale factor. All right, I'm going to stop the video here and do a new video.